everybody, it's Febury. I missed you guys last Thursday. As you all know, my name is Febury Hassan, and I'm a relationship and personal development coach. And the premise behind all of my work is that every relationship you're having is a reflection of the one that you're having with yourself. And all relationships are just barometers that kind of help you gauge where you really are. So I'm just going to delve right into everything today. And as always, like I say, consider this your dressing room. If you like it, you can wear it and take it out. If you don't, just leave it right here. There's nothing I'm saying I'm trying to sell to you. You don't have to buy it. So I'm going to start again with my whole series behind why hoes are winning. And as I told you before, it's really more of a sensational title than me really believing in the concept of hoes and thoughts and things of that nature, because it's not a verbiage that I use and it's not something that I believe in. But I do think the whole idea of behind what people, hey Corey, people think have traditionally been considered hoes is really something to delve into and to look at and to see, you know, why we think hoes are winning. And so we're going to just jump right in this today. And as I told you guys before, how do I want to flesh this out? Really what I'm talking about a lot of times is really the masculine and feminine energy and how we can be empowered to get what we want, especially as women. And one thing about the so-called hoe is she knows how to ask for what she wants, and that's why she gets it. And one of the reasons and one of the ways she asks for what she wants, she asks for it from a very feminine place. A lot of times, something I was thinking about today that happens with women who are considered independent or they have their own this and they have their own that, is what happens is not so much that men are intimidated by that, but it's that they lead from a very masculine place. They present themselves to men the same way men present themselves to women as it relates to attracting a mate. So let me flesh that out for you. Men are naturally protectors and providers in their masculine energy. Now, how they were raised or how they were brought up kind of starts to dictate some of those things. But men in their masculine energy is a part of that. The masculine is the provider and the protector. That's just part of the masculine. The feminine is part of the nurturing and the caretaker. That's just part of the feminine. And as we know, anybody can embody those types of energies. However, we're just talking about who predominantly has those energies. Men predominantly have the protector and the provider energy. Women predominantly have the nurture and the caretaker energy. So hope you guys are following me on that. So what happens though is a lot of times, particularly in this society with women, and be it because of circumstances or situations or what have you. So we went out to the workforce and we said, okay, I have to make some things happen because I don't like the set of circumstances that I'm currently in. But what we did was we led that very masculinely. We were aggressive and assertive. You remember the 80s with the big shoulder pads and women wearing the pinstripe, pantsuits, and, they were, I can bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan. We were being taught to be very masculine. And that was the only way we were going to survive. I cry bullshit on that. And it's something now that I really feel is truly hurting us. It's hurting our relationships. It's hurting how we relate to one another, but especially women. Again, I'm often talking to us because I always say I know the first place I heal is with myself and with my sisters and my girlfriends. I'm also talking to men, but the first place I'm talking to is us. What has happened is that now women are attempting to attract men the same way that men in their masculine energy attract us. Tell you what that looks like. How many women have you heard say, well, I got my own car, I got my own place, I got an education, I got my own money, this, that, and the other. Great. I'm not saying anyone, I don't think male or female thinks that that's a bad thing. It is important that all humans are self-sufficient. There's a difference between self-sufficiency and independence. We're going to put a pin in that, okay? Self-sufficiency is important, okay? I believe children should be as self-sufficient as they possibly can to be able to do as much for themselves as they possibly can. Does not mean they're independent of their parents or independent of anyone else. So it is important that we are self-sufficient, but not so independent. So again, put a pin in that. So what has happened is that as women we've gotten more education and more money and more prestige and more power, but we've done it in a very masculine way. And with that, so now when we meet a man, because it's something that we like men that are providers and protectors and have their own cars and are successful, we automatically think that that's something that they need from us because we're operating from the masculine. So we'll still come up to a man and be like, hi, how you doing? Well, I got this, that, and the other. And he's thinking, okay, great. It's nice. It's a great perk. I'm not saying there's anything bad about it, but he does not need that from you. So please understand, if you're not meeting a man's needs, you're not serving him. So to say I have my own car, my own house, and think that you're going to be a valuable catch, okay, is not a true statement. I'm also put a pin in that word catch I just used. So to think that that is going to attract a man, that is not the lure, ladies, that you use to attract a man. That is the lure that men use for women. So, what did you say, Liz? So again, so that is the lure that women are attempting to use to attract men, but it does not work. That is not the fish you're going to catch. If you're trying to attain the interest of a true masculine man, one who wants to provide for you and protect you, does not mean you have to give up your assets, but it does mean that you have to release your masculine energy as it relates to dealing with and associating yourself with that man. Does not mean you give up your power. It means that you operate from your feminine power and not your masculine power, because there has to be a give and take. There has to be someone receiving and there has to be someone giving. And so when I talk about the reason hoes get what they want is because they know how to ask for what they want from a very feminine place. And they do not come with men from trying to attempt to attract them with the same level of masculinity that men have. You want to attract a man, you attract him femininely, not with masculinity. So again, reiterating why hoes are winning. So when this so-called hoe, and again, I use that word very cavalierly just for the title, because I've said this before, nice girls aren't winning, obviously. So that's why I'm using those the two differentiators of the word, the nice girl and the hoe. Nice girls are not winning because they're not understanding how to play and position themselves from a place of femininity. They're trying to play and position themselves from a place of masculinity. And that will not serve us, ladies. When you want to attract a man, coming to him saying, again, well, I have my own car, and I got this, that, and the other, that's fine and dandy. What can you do for him? He has his own car. A man has a car, okay? A grown man has a car. A grown man has a place to live. A grown man has a certain level of assets. And a grown man is there and willing to assist you and pour into you and provide for you. That's already his position. So what is your position if you're coming to him saying you have the exact same things that he has? What does he need from you? So we have to reassess these things. It's not that we get rid of those things. It's not that we lower our assets, because again, those are nice perks to have, bringing those things together. But is it a need for him? And honestly, ladies, think about it. If you meet a man who needs you to have a car, in order to deal with him, needs you to have a certain type of car, needs you to have a certain level of education, he probably needs you to be fairly intelligent, but he just needs you to have a PhD to attract him. He does not need you to drive a Maserati to attract him. He doesn't need you to have a $500,000 home to attract him. He needs you to be self-sufficient, but not so damn independent that he can't do anything for you or be present to you because you're so busy trying to drive and lead with your masculine energy as compared to your feminine. So what do hoes know differently? They know that when you come to a man, you come to him with what does he need from a woman? Does he need, if he's already out there working every day and dealing with the world and having to come with all these things at him, he needs a soft place. He needs a sense of gentleness. He needs someone that's willing to nurture. He needs someone that can listen. Listen, not talk, ladies. Listen at times. Hear what sometimes what he's even not saying. That's what he needs from you. Again, those other things are just nice perks. But that's not what a man needs from a woman. So a lot of times, again, when you talking about so-called hoes, these women are looking at these men, and sometimes very powerful men, and saying, what does he need? How can I add value to his life? How can I allow myself to be poured into? Because again, if you're already full of all these other things, lady, there's no place for him to fill. There's no place for him to be in. And I also talk about how I think it's so beautiful in the way even that we're made, you know, the penis being straight and rigid and the womb being circular and fluid. And because that way he can pour into that and you can receive that, but you have to create a place for those things to happen. But if you are attempting to be the same as him, hard and rigid, there's no place for anybody to enter into. Our relationships have now become combative and not complementary. And at the end of the day, if we are ultimately, for most part, women, of course, we all have masculine and feminine energy, but for the most part, ladies, are encapsulating the feminine. The onus is on us to open ourselves up to be more feminine and to allow him to pour into us and stop leading in the same way that a man leads a woman. So, for instance, I say a lot of times, it's said, well, shoot your shot. Listen, I'm going to tell you, stay in your lane. There's one word that I've never heard of being applied to a man, and that's the word alluring. Your responsibility is to be alluring. And the thing about it being lures catch different types of fish. Every lure does not catch the same type of fish. So if you have your sights on a certain type of fish, you need to know how to attract the one that you want to attract by being alluring to that one. Stop casting such a broad net. Your responsibility is to be alluring and to allow him to come into you and to be captivated by you and what you have to offer. And again, if you're both offering the same things, if you're being masculine in your energy and not understanding how to offer what a man needs, you're not going to attract the attention of the type of man that you want. And if the type of man that you want is a provider and a protector and one that wants to be present to you and nurture your spirit, that means you're responsible for setting up a place where he can do that for you. And you're responsible for setting up the lure that attracts the type of man that you want to attract. And so if you're trying to say, pardon my French, people say there's all these fuck boys out here. Well, if you're so busy being hard and masculine and talking about what you have and you have this, that, and the other, that's the type of men you're going to attract. Because that's the type of men that are attracted to that. Because they're not providers. They're not protectors. So they're not going to be looking for how they can pour into you and supply you the types of things you need for your life and for your soul and your well-being. So again, you want to attract the type of men that are going to pour into you in the most masculine of ways and give you what you need to feed your soul with, and you in turn by meeting their needs. So understanding the types of men that you are attracting and desiring to attract means that you have to first tap into yourself and your own internal power as a woman and say, how can I be what he can pour into? Because again, the womb is open and it is there to be poured into. It does not give out, that it produces the fruit of what has been given to it. So again, we're very much out of alignment. I put a pin in a few things before, so let me kind of fall back on that. And the idea of us knowing how to meet needs and not to be so, I'm going to use the word aggressive. And thinking that having a car and thinking that being independent is actually going to be a great attractor. Why independence, or saying I'm a strong independent woman, is such a detractor is because it does not allow for coupling. It does not allow for interdependency, because you're saying I am one, I stand alone. So where is it for that other person to come into if you are standing alone? Remember, self-sufficiency is great. Nobody needs someone that's needy. There's a difference in being interdependent and being needy. So having someone that is self-sufficient is great. You know that you can depend on them. They know how to get things done. That's amazing. That's wonderful. But this sense of I'm independent, I don't need anybody, then great. Guess what? You're independent. You don't need anybody. And that's what you're going to continue to attract. This sense of independence, I don't need anybody. But when you are interested in being interdependent, as I talked about how our bodies are beautifully made up to be interdependent of one another, then you are much more likely to attract the very thing that you say you want. Someone that fills you up and someone that can pour into you. So it's a really beautiful and synchronistic relationship when we really start to pull back from some of the negative things that we've been taught and some of the things that have been, kind of saturated in our mind that keep us separated, because we are meant to be different. As I said before, yes, we're equals. We're equal in our human capacity and the beauty of our spirits, but we're not the same. There's so many things different about us, not just our emotionalities, but I'm talking about actually our internal makeup. The things that we need, our bodies are different. We're so incredibly different. And it's important that we really start to recognize those differences and the changes that are involved with each of us, and stop being so damn hard on one another even. So just to reiterate again, why hoes are winning is because they're asking for what they want. I want a man that's going to pour into me, that's going to provide for me, that's going to protect me, that's going to be present to my needs, that's going to support and love my children. And that's what I want. And in exchange for that, I'm going to be his comfort. I'm going to be his nurturer. I'm going to be his support when he needs support. I'm going to be the gentle place that he can rest his head. I'm willing to give in exchange for what I'm asking to receive. Therein lies a synchronicity. But that's why when you get angry with women who are getting what they want, or what you perceive as getting what they want, when you say, I have all these things, why don't you see me? It's because he doesn't need, nor is he in his masculine form attracted to your things. Remember, women equate love and security. They're synonymous for us. When I feel secure, I feel loved. There's no way around it. If my lights are off or you're cheating on me or what have you, I'm not going to feel that you love me because I don't feel safe and secure. For men, it's respect. Respect and love are synonymous. So if you're yelling at him and ranting and raving, not creating that soft place for him to come home to, again, he's not going to hear that you love him because you don't respect him. So waving around that you have all these little accoutrements do not attract him. Because those are not things that he needs. So therefore, he does not respect them. They're fine and dandy. But what he needs is that soft, nurturing, loving place. And that woman who is, again, interdependent with him, not the woman who is independent of him. So when you get angry with so-called hoes for getting what they want, it's because first and foremost, they know how to give what he needs. And it's important. And in doing so, interestingly enough, you're not even sacrificing yourself, ladies. You're actually getting more of what you want and need by actually creating that softer, gentler place in yourself. Because honestly, for women, especially African-American women, our stress levels are off the chain. And part of the reason why they're so off the chain is because we're so masculine in our energy. We are not soft. We're creating a space within our own bodies and beings that are so hard and so rigid that we cannot be fluid as we're meant to be. Our fluidity is not moving. And so we are hurting ourselves. We're killing ourselves day in and day out by actually being more masculine and not allowing him to take his rightful place in our lives. And in turn, his world is upside down because he's, again, masculine, and masculine energy is really strong. The testosterone and everything else is just on overload because there's no place to put it. There's no place. There's not a soft place. There's not a gentle place. So again, we're so out of balance, so incredibly out of balance that our relationships are suffering, our children are suffering, our communities are suffering because we are out of balance. And the first person I know to put in balance is me. I can't put you in balance, but I can damn sure put myself in balance. I can't put a man in balance, but I can damn sure put myself in balance so that I attract the type of man that I need and desire so that I get more of what I want. I'm telling you, ladies, I want you to have everything that you want. All of it. Every single ounce of it. My men as well, I want you to have what you want and what you need and what you desire to fill your life up and to make it even more abundant. But first and foremost, we have to get back to a place that allows us to do that, to give that, and to receive that. Right now, we're doing this. There's no receiving in that. There's no giving in that. It's just a bunch of bumping heads, bumping heads, bumping heads. And then honestly, if we want to say kind of a dick slinging contest, everybody's, because we're so masculine, everybody's just bumping. There's no place to be received. So I'm just really, my goal and my hope and my passion as I talk about these things, and even though I use the sensational title, Why Hoes Are Winning, is because there's something to be said about a woman. And men know, and we know as women as well, that knows what she wants and knows how to get it in the most beautiful of ways. That knows how to be perfectly alluring, that she causes the very thing that she wants to come to her. It's not her responsibility to go to it. Allure merely sits there and dangles and allows what it desires to come to them. And interestingly enough, when that happens, the fish actually thinks he chose the lure, but the lure actually chose the fish, but did it in the most beautiful and subtle of ways. So again, I just want to let you know that this is what I'm most passionate about. This is what I love. If you like this, please share, please hit like, talk about it. I will be presenting even more of this. I have a couple of guests coming up really soon. As you all, many of you may or may not know, I have several books. I have Would You Marry You? An introspection. I have a webinar, Would You Marry You? The marriage blueprint and proposal. There's also the book 30 Days to a Healthy Relationship, and my signature workshop, The Secret Power of Women, which will be coming between August and September. So we'll be presenting that again. So again, I just want to thank you for joining me today. And I hope you got something out of this. And as I always say, you're never without power, because power lies within. Peace.